It's BB and Mary, we know you have been waiting, so here's another podcast about movies. Burn after watching.
Welcome to the Burn After Watching podcast. I'm Borderland,
I'm Dan.
and this week, actually this month, we are embarking on an adventure. We are challenging ourselves to watch horror film, which we both really much dislike.
Despise.
Despise. Yes, perfect word. Perfect word. Yeah. So we we really don't. I personally hate horror film. I never like them. I enjoy a good thriller, but
Yeah.
horror film, I'm just too sensitive to I will lose sleep over horror film, and that's definitely a me thing that I knew for a long time. I think I probably watched an horror film too young at some point, and it totally screwed me up.
Yeah.
But it's been a battle to watch horror film.
Yeah, I think for anyone of the listeners out there who are in their 30s, sleep is integral to health. And without sleep, you're going to have a bad day. Now, horror films, at the ripe age of under 10, I saw the original It. I hate clowns now. So, these are our formidable years where we should be appreciating all of life's experiences, but I have avoided watching horror films. I will even watch terrible films than watch a horror film.
Exactly. The film that did it for me was The Haunted House on the Hill or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember a scene where they go into a basement, there's body parts in like vase and stuff. And I was probably 12 and it was on TV. And I was like, I'm not supposed to watch this. And I was so scared. I was so scared. Anyway, today we are disregarding our better judgment. And we are going right into... we are going to a weekly episode of horror film. So we've picked 2 films per week that have like a theme, and we're going to be watching those. Most of them are films that we've never seen or we've seen just a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So this week we're doing found footage. And to me, the 2 movie that I think about when I think about found footage is one movie that I saw when I was young, which scarred me for life, which is Paranormal Activity. And a movie I'd never seen because I was so scared. I was like, this is absolutely no way I'm watching this. The Blair Witch Project. Was it the first watch for you for both?
For both, yeah. Blair Witch Project came out when I was like 10. Because I think this came out in 1999 or early 2000s. So I was stupid young to watch it. I'm a good boy. I follow the rules. It's R-rated. I can't watch it. In Paranormal Activity, I just don't mess with ghosts. So both first watches.
Okay. I told you a story, but I want to tell it again. Mm-hmm. I used to have a portable DVD player. Mm-hmm. When I was like probably like 14, 15, we went to Maine. I had $100. And with that $100, I bought a DVD player, portable DVD player with a 7-inch screen. And that was really cool. I would go to the Super Club. I would rent 3 movie for $5 when they were not new film. And I would just watch movie every night. And I would watch them in bed, and my parents couldn't tell because I was on my little DVD thing. And I remember, I don't know how, because we had the internet, but like it was not like a thing where I had to fight with my sister to get the connection.
Yeah, landline.
And I didn't know how the internet worked that well yet. I don't know how I heard about Paranormal Activity, but I remember that when that movie was rolling out, there was 2 things that were happening. One, Steven Spielberg had seen the film and was scared out of his mind. I remember either reading an article or something, but reading that Steven Spielberg had seen the film and couldn't sleep and had to like stop it and like turn on the lights, something like this. I remember reading it. I was like, oh my God. And then I remember there was a campaign where you had to go to a website and then put the name of your city in, and people could vote to get the movie to come to your city.
Oh, wow.
Basically, it was like a by demand, right? Like, so like if you wanted the distributor to like send it to cinema in Quebec or in Toronto, you had to go and say like, please send it to Toronto. And then if, I don't know if it was actually something they were listening to. But I remember that I went and put Quebec in, even though I had no interest of watching it because it's so scary. But I did watch it on my DVD 6.5 inch screen in bed at night, alone in my bedroom with headphones on, and I'm sure I had to like look away and like put my hands in front of my finger, my hands in front of my eyes, because I remember like being so freaking scared. Like that's the one that like really sealed it that I'm not watching a horror movie anymore.
I think for good reason. I think there's I in my early 20s saw Paranormal 2, and I think I've told you it was for someone's birthday party, and I had a cardigan, a fully formed cardigan. It was nice and blue. It had some like white stripes on it. I loved this cardigan. I chewed off a whole button. A whole button was in my mouth for 90% of the movie, and I chewed it straight off the freaking cardigan. So like, I get it. I get why like people don't mess with ghosts like this movie or demons, or I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's a terrifying franchise.
Yeah, like I think that what it does so well for me, what I remembered, is that all those little noise in your house that you hear, but you just kind of like, even sometimes like don't even hear anymore, they kind of give them like a sinister purpose. When you watch this film now, you think all those little noise could be a ghost, could be like something. And that's what's so scary, because it utilized something that everyone have in their house, which is like little noises. And I remember, the way I remember this film was that it was a lot more terrifying, like moments of like actual panic. But to be honest, like now watching it, and I watched it on an iPad in an hotel room, not in my city, which to me was like the best and the worst way to watch it, with like big headphones on, because I was not in my own room. So like I had to deal with people walking in the corridor next to me, and like in a hotel room, like the beds are so close to doors that like you hear everything. So like it was really like extra scary to be alone in the hotel room. But it felt like there was almost none of those like nighttime camera on the tripod shot. It was maybe like 5-10 minutes of the entire like 90 minutes, and a lot of it was just like almost couple drama.
It's it was, I think I wrote this in my Letterboxd review. The most terrifying thing about this movie is the toxic relationship between Mika and Katie. It's just like the whole storyline is that like Katie, when she was like super young, was like haunted by this demon ghost thing, and then there was an unexplainable fire, and then other times throughout her life that she's been haunted by this demon, and now she's a student in her 20s dating this guy named Mika, and he's just gaslighting her for 95% of the movie. Like
yeah, like he just basically never listened to her. Like the whole Ouija board thing, where it's like, oh, I didn't buy a Ouija board, I borrowed it. It's like, dude. Also, I feel like they like at first you kind of see them reviewing the footage that they took, but at some point like the Ouija board just caught fire in the middle of the living room, and they never talk about it as if like it was a thing. Like I understand like they can't leave the house, and that was smart, because in all the horror movie you always like, just leave the house, just leave where you are, why don't you just leave? But like it's basically been told to them that like it's attached to her, so like they can't actually leave. But obviously whatever he's doing is making it a lot worse. So like just chill a second.
Yeah, like I remember in the beginning there's like that specialist doctor guy, and he's like, whatever you do not attempt to talk to this demon. You will irritate it. And he's like, there's a point where he's just like, hey, if you're out there, talk to me, speak to me in English. Like, I'm here. And then he pours like that, the baby powder on the ground. And then you see like the demon footprints. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you're doing everything to talk to this thing.
I think he's like a tech bro that want to have like this guy would have a true crime podcast today. You know, if it was a YouTube, like if it was not 2007, this guy just won the story. You know, he's clickbaiting. You know, like he wants the footage to like have a YouTube kind of channel that it can pop off of it. Like that's the vibe. I mean, this would be a great YouTube channel to follow. Just like watch people sleep and then the doors slightly move and then just millions of people in the comments just like giving theory of what's happening. Like I can see it. But yeah, I mean, to me, the terrifying part were kind of like that. Like just, you know, when like the sheets of the bed move a little bit and then it goes grab her legs and stuff like this. I was not as scared as I expected to be.
Yeah, it's like startling at times. Like there's that when she just like gets possessed and is like standing and like watching him for like 3 hours, like it's startling. Like the lights turning off, the doors getting slammed, you know, the TV going on like all staticky, like Poltergeist. You know, those are like moments of scariness, but it's almost like watching it now in the year 2024. It's like gimmicky, you know, like this is like when if you and I were just to make a horror film, like this is where you would start off, like scratches on the walls, like something that's like so overtly done that like it's just not scary anymore, you know? Like this when it originally came out, I totally get it because it's not something you see as often, but now it's just, you know, I got spooked but not scared.
Yeah, I think that the second one used like security camera instead of like so I think that makes almost more sense. Like I know there's a lot of like movie now that use like webcam camera as like the camera, and like I understand you want to make it like fresh and like more to today, but like to me why this worked is because like this idea of like home video was like a reality in 2007. It was kind of like the time where everybody was buying like little camcorder Sony, and that felt like real. That felt like it could be real. And I think because they didn't go over the top, it felt a lot more just like it felt a bit more realistic. But now we've seen too much of it. And also like there's just so many of those movies, like Paranormal Activity, like what, 6 or 7 now. Like it definitely lost is I do enjoy the ending. Like the last 5 minutes is really really like scary. Like it works. It really delivers. It's more thrilling than anything else. There's some really bad acting too, like that weird old guy you were mentioning that comes in like shaman or whatever he is, like a he's like a witch or like something. He's some kind of specialist. I think I wrote down a witch,
but
specialist.
He's like you have to speak to a demon specialist. But the funniest, Dr. Frederick, the funniest part was when they finally get to the point where they're like, we got to call this like demon guy. The demon guy is like out of town because he's on vacation.
That's so funny.
And then he comes back and he's like, I can't be here right now. My presence, me being here has just disturbed his presence and I cannot help you. I must leave. And they're like, please, Dr. Frederick, like tell us how to stop this thing. And he's like, I can't help you right now. You have to call this guy.
So why did you come all this way then? Just to be like, I can't be here.
Yeah.
And like, or like, also I feel like there's just nobody else. Like Katie has a friend. There's like twice. She like do nothing. She's not helpful at all. Like no, like where's the family? Where's like, I guess like it's a small budget film, so like keep it small, sure. But like I feel like, I don't know. I know there's an original ending that end with the police coming in.
Yeah.
And like shooting the both of them or something like that. That's the original ending. And Steven Spielberg thought that the ending in the current film was like a better ending, with like basically the girl getting thrown to the camera, which is like a great jump scare. Like even I knew it was coming, and I was like, oh, come on, what is it? And it really it waited just long enough to get you. Yeah. But yeah, like it does feel a bit small scale, but I guess it's on purpose. Like it's pretty much like rinse and repeat. Do this, do this. Little things happen, and it's escalated, and it's kind of over.
Yeah, like I think what they did well was with its current ending, it ties into the story that Micah found about that other woman in the 80s, and it kind of like showed her face and like what she looked like, the aftermath, and then you see it, right? Like in the near the end of the movie, this whole time Katie or Kate or whatever, she was trying to leave the house, and it was Micah holding her back. But Katie, near the end, when the demon has like fully possessed her, she's like, no, like we should stay. And then it cuts to her face and she does like this super evil grin. And then after she throws Micah into the camera or into the room, she has like that crazy demon face and then launches at you. So like it ties into that story of what happened to the other woman.
Yeah, that VFX is very like not great now. Like the weird face. Like ghost, it's almost like YouTube video ghost face kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like I had a little chuckle at the end, but yeah, I mean it's fine. You know. Yeah. I gave it a 2.5.
I think I gave it like a 3. I can't remember, but they're all very similar ratings.
Yeah, I think I would burn this one. I really don't think that it work anymore. And maybe it's because I've seen it once, and maybe once you've seen it once, it's kind of like
burnt. It mix up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd probably burn this one as well. It's if I want to watch a scary movie or you're voluntold into something like this, you know, you want to be scared. You know, if you're gonna commit to something, you almost want to get the fright in just to say you've experienced it.
I agree. Like that's also if I'm gonna watch one or a film, I'll watch 2 or 3 in a row because once you're scared, you can be super scared. There's no level. So I watched this one. I was like, all right, watched it, no problem, feel totally fine. It's only 11. Let's go. Let's watch another one. So I watched the Blair Witch Project right into it, first watch ever.
Oof. Yeah.
And that was a mistake.
Huge mistakes were made.
Yes. This one, I don't know if it's because it was the first watch again, but the entirety of the film, I was not really scared. Like, I was into it. I liked the concept, like, found footage, the found tapes. I kind of read into it also a little bit before and after. It's really cool. Like, the production is really cool, so it's an interesting story. But it's really... the funny thing is that it hit me, like, 5 minutes after the movie ended. Yeah. That, like, I'm gonna spoil it. They go into the house... And then, like, it's happening really fast. And then you see at the end, the friend standing in the corner. And then the camera fall and scream in black. Yeah. In my head, I was like, oh, so they're going for that, like, oh, look at that. The friend standing in the corner, like, possessed. And it's so weird. So I was like, that's not really scary. And then I remember the story that the old man stole at the beginning. Where it's all about, like, oh, you know, like, this killer or this witch gets... capture people in pair. Yeah. And when they kill them, they ask one of them to like face the wall while they kill the other. And when that click in my head, which is like 5 minutes after I closed my iPad and like lay in bed, my eye just like pop open. And I was like, I need to put a chair in front of the door. I literally stand up, took a chair and put it in front of the door of the hotel room because I was like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. There's too many people walking back and forth. It's 1 a.m. in the morning. I do not want to risk it.
Yeah, it's truly like you retelling it. I just got a pit in my stomach. It is like what you said is exactly right. Like I wasn't afraid during the movie, but after I closed up shop, I went onto Reddit. It was roughly around like 12:15 when I finished it on so Thursday night going into Friday. Went on Reddit and some guy was explaining like the theory of it all, and there's like technically they both go into the house with 2 cameras, and you can hear like the distance of the screaming gets like louder and louder throughout the like chasing of them trying to find each other. And it got me to a point where I was like, this is fine. This wasn't scary. This was campy. I went back. I edited my Letterbox review. And I just couldn't sleep until like 2 a.m. So it just like like throughout the movie itself, like I found the characters to be almost annoying. And you told me a bit of like the filming strategies of like how they try to keep this like all natural, but like throughout the movie, like I was like, they're doing the most like the things you shouldn't do, like kick over like burial sites, or like mess with nature, or like, you know, you're mocking like people who are out there. And like at first, like there's things like one of the guys, he kicks over like these pile of rocks, and that is supposed to represent like a burial ground to these like seven children who were like lost and murdered. But like at first, when you hear them like camping at night and you hear children laughing, I was almost laughing because like I thought it was so corny.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like it was like this whole movie was building a 7-layer lasagna. The first layer, I was like, oh, this is like, I can deal. This is just plain carbs. But they put the sauce on, the meat on, the cheese on. By the time that 7th layer hits, that's when like everything starts sinking in. Like this is just like a roller coaster that was going up the entire time, and the ending is a drop. So like in its pieces of me writing all my notes for Blair Witch Project, I'm like, they're young, they're stupid, they're not sleeping, their strategies of staying up at night is dumb, like they keep the lights on, and the girl Heather filming the entire time while the other two are like, stop freaking filming, like we're sick of this. Like I was like, oh my god, I just wanted it to end. But overall, like a terrifying movie.
Yeah, like I think you nailed it. Like it's really a film. Also, I think knowing that it's not true is a big part of it. When this came out, people believe it was true. Like I was reading that like some of the parent of the actor actually got letters of like, I'm so sorry that like your daughter passed away in this whole like thing. Like people really believed it. It's almost like The Exorcist, right? Like it was so new, it was so like different, and it was presented like the marketing was all about like news flash and like news report of like missing teenager. So like they were really selling it as if like it was a true story, that they found the tape and they like put this thing together. But like that's the thing, right? In my head I was like, but I know it's fake. Like I know it's fake. So it's so old now. And in my head I was like, whatever they did, it's probably gonna look terrible, and I'm gonna be fine. But like I think the low quality VHS makes it even scarier now. And they don't show anything that would age. You know, they don't show like an entity. And actually, we were supposed to see a witch at some point. That time where you hear children and they start running out of the tent, and the main girl, I don't remember her name, Heather scream, "Oh my God, what is that?" Yeah. The cameraman was asked to turn the camera and look and like film on the right, and there was supposed to be like an actor dressed in white to show to represent the witch, but the actor like forgot to turn the camera, so they just never got it. And because like the director was not directly in contact with the actor, because they were trying to like isolate them, they couldn't tell if they got their shot or not. So like there's a bunch of things like this that end up being like they were error or like not planned, and they actually better at the end. I really think that the fact that it still got me is kind of impressive. Like to me, this is a film that I could rewatch. Yeah. It's not scary enough that I'm like no one want to see it again, but there's enough in there that I would be interested in seeing it, knowing a bit more now, and kind of like getting a vibe. Yeah, like there's something about this movie, like it's really vibey. It reminded me of The Rings, or like what I remember of The Ring, that it is more eerie than like scary.
Yeah, I think like you said it very well. Like I could probably see this again maybe in like a couple years, but I can probably see this again and almost like look for like cookie crumbs of like, do you actually see the witch? You know, because I know a lot of like horror movies, they sometimes go like, if you looked at the door on this, like at this minute of the movie, you can actually see like the monster. But because it's not like evidently clear that you see the witch, you almost want to go back to see if you could. Because I'm sure if you went on like Reddit right now, and I'll be honest, I just checked right now, like, could you actually see the witch? There's like theories out there that Mary Brown, the older woman that you see at the beginning of the movie, is the actual witch. But like, there's probably like things like that you can kind of look for it to see, like, could you have seen like a sign? Like, was it only the kicking of the rocks that like made them, get haunted, so to speak? Or like, is there anything else I can kind of look for? So this one was, it's definitely a movie where I understand where a lot of people say this is one of the scariest movies they've seen, because it's such a lingering effect, because you never actually get to see the monster or the villain.
Yeah, 100%. And I was kind of surprised that the poster with the face, I thought this was a guy. The entire, like, all my life, I was looking at this. I was like, okay, this is a pretty good poster. The guy is afraid, etc. And it's the main girl.
Yeah.
Plot twist. Plot twist, everyone.
I thought like there was this one point that I wrote down. It was probably midway through the movie, and Mike or Josh, they take the camera for the first time, because it's always Heather filming for the most part. And he's like grilling her and gaslighting her of like, I understand now why you film us so much. It's like when you're filming, it doesn't look like it's reality. So it's like a method for her to like hide behind what's actually happened.
Yeah.
And then, so when she flips it, it's almost like this weird breaking of the fourth wall. It's like her looking into the camera saying like, this is the reality. So I thought that was just like an interesting piece that they just kind of brought up. But yeah, dude, a solid movie.
Solid movie. I give it a 3.5.
I think I gave it a 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, man. Yeah, I think that's the same. You talking about it made me want to rewatch it and look for this stuff, which is a good sign. It's kind of reminding me of like the type of movie I like The Witch and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this will end the first Spooktober horror month. I'm trying to find this. Is there a word for it? Spooktober.
Halloween month.
Halloween month. Horror month. Next week, we are doing something in your honor, Dan. We're doing Korean horror.
Korean horror. I'm very curious.
See you soon.
Ciao.
Have a good one.